The movie opens with the news of the death of Liam McCaffrey, the most powerful leader of an international crime syndicate. Unfortunately, he leaves behind no known heir to the massive empire he built. That's when the film's hero, Don, comes into the picture, Liam McCaffrey's son. The problem? No one knows this. Years ago, Don cut all ties with his father, changed his name, and chose a quiet, ordinary life with his family. We first see Don in New York, trying to sneak into a hotel through the balcony. At the same time, he's on the phone with his wife Jessica, who's sitting at the hotel bar. Don tells her he's hidden the room key under a table. Jessica casually picks it up without drawing attention and heads to room 556. As soon as she enters the room, she notices a box on the bed. Inside it is a necklace. Just as she's about to pick it up, Don climbs in from the balcony. It turns out this whole setup was Don's idea, a creative way to celebrate their wedding anniversary. But just as they're about to enjoy the moment, their son Kylie calls. He says that his little brother Max has thrown up and completely trashed the house. Don, who hasn't even had a chance to celebrate with Jessica, gets really frustrated. Still, Jessica insists they go home right away. The next day, they head to Jessica's family house for Thanksgiving. While they're there, they video call their eldest daughter, Nina, so she can be part of the family vibe. Nina has moved to London for her job as a journalist. During the call, Nina's grandfather casually says, "That Liam guy you exposed in the news a few years back? He died in prison last week." He says it without a second thought because no one in the family knows Liam was actually Don's father. Only Jessica knows the truth. Jessica quickly tries to change the subject, then pulls Don aside to apologize, because no matter what, he was still Don's father. At that moment, Max hands the tablet to Jessica so she can talk to Nina. Jessica explains her job and the fitness team she manages, and mentions she's received an amazing offer from Ohio University to become the head coach there. But she hasn't told Don yet, because accepting it would mean leaving the city, and Don has grown very attached to staying where they are. From Nina's point of view, her mom has sacrificed her dreams for the family for years, and now it's time for her dad to make a sacrifice instead. Nina also has some bad news. She won't be able to come home for Christmas because there are no available flights. It may sound minor, but for Don, it's a disaster. He's extremely attached to having the whole family together. When he realizes everyone thinks he's overreacting, he feels even more hurt. The next day at work, Don is told that a bank in London wants him to test their security system. He sees this as a golden opportunity and tells his family, "This Christmas, we're going to see Nina." At first, everyone objects, but Jessica quickly turns the situation to her advantage and says, "You're right. Wherever we're together, that's our home." When they arrive in London, they're supposed to meet Nina at a hotel. But Don, curious as always, takes the family straight to Nina's apartment instead. Nina opens the door and is completely shocked. It's obvious they've shown up at a very bad time. Kylie goes to the bathroom, then rushes back out and says, "Someone's in there." At that exact moment, a man walks out of the bathroom wearing only a towel. Don immediately attacks him, but Nina jumps between them and explains that this is Omar, her boyfriend. Jessica immediately likes Omar, but Don starts interrogating him. "How old are you? What do you do? Where's your father from? Why do you have a French accent?" Omar answers calmly. He's 24, a chef, a parkour instructor, sometimes a DJ, with a Moroccan father and a French mother. Don can't find a single reason to object. To make things even worse, Omar calls him Dad right away. Later, while walking around the city, Kylie asks Omar if he likes video games. Omar replies, "That's basically my job." Then, out of nowhere, he starts jumping from wall to wall doing parkour. Max gets excited and wants to try it too, but he falls. Don gets angry again, but Omar manages to calm him down. The next day, Don tells Jessica he has to go to the bank to test the security system and that afterward they'll go sightseeing together. After Don leaves, Nina asks Jessica whether she's told him about the Ohio University offer yet, because Jessica only has 3 hours before the trip begins to talk to her husband alone. In the next scene, Don walks into the bank and a man approaches him. The man introduces himself as the bank's manager, named Clary. He asks Don to hack into the bank's security system. Don is surprised, but calmly copies a staff member's card in just a few seconds at the first gate. The cameras are easily bypassed, and the laser system is outdated. Don asks, "Which room do you want to hit?" Clary, with a blank expression, explains he wants to get into the vault. As a security guard approaches them, Don quickly spins a lie and sends him off to chase after a fake customer. When they reach the final gate, Don pulls out Doug's card from his pocket. Clary is shocked, realizing he never even noticed that Don had stolen it. Don tells him to go in first, and as soon as they enter, he catches Clary and says, "Who are you? Neither the receptionist nor Doug recognized you. No way you're the bank manager." Clary shows him his phone with a picture of Don's wife, Jessica, on the screen. He says that only she can complete the mission, or else Jessica will get hurt. He then demands Don open Vault 411. Don is stunned when he sees the special key inside, the one belonging to his father's assets. Clary shows him an old photo, a childhood picture of himself with Liam McCaffrey and Don. Don says he recognizes him, explaining that Finn used to be the son of his father's servant. Clary replies, "I'm not the servant's son. I was your brother, but your father never acknowledged me." Finn has come to claim his father's inheritance. He asks Don to help him, or else Don's family will be in danger. Reluctantly, Don agrees to play along. As they leave, Finn lets Jessica go and drives off in his car. The police start chasing Don and Jessica, but they manage to escape. Meanwhile, Clary realizes the key box is empty and heads toward the kids' hotel. Don calls the kids and warns them to discard their phones. When Clary and Don arrive, Clary's car circles around them. In the end, they manage to escape and board a tourist bus. Jessica asks Don, "Do you have another secret? Wasn't your dad's secret enough?" Don tells her he didn't know any of this either. Eventually, Finn finds them and threatens to kill Jessica. Don tosses the key into the street, and Finn rushes to grab it, leaving Jessica behind. Don takes the family to an old Chinese restaurant owned by a longtime friend of his. There, he explains everything. Don even admits that he understands why his brother Finn spent so many years fighting for what was rightfully his. Then, Don says they'll need to move to Paris again. Nina is upset because she's built a life for herself in London and doesn't want to leave Omar. Omar says he'll go wherever they do. Don insists they can't go to the police because he and Jessica are now bank robbery suspects, and they'll need to stay hidden for a while. He then takes them on a boat ride. On the boat, the kids express their frustration. Nina says that for years she wanted to change the world, but now she has to run from the police because of her father's past. Meanwhile, Finn enters their father's home. The old servant, Vikram, asks, "I know who you are. Why are you here?" Finn shows him the key and convinces Vikram he's here to claim what's rightfully his. With pride, Finn enters the office, knocks over the picture frames on the desk, and places the key in its rightful spot. Suddenly, the encrypted screens pop up, and all his father's accounts unlock. Finn finally feels like he's getting his inheritance. At the same time, Don takes the family from the boat to an old house, claiming it used to be one of his old girlfriend's places. Jessica is shocked, as she never knew Don had lived in Paris before. Omar suggests they ask his father for help. But, as usual, Don isn't interested in hearing anything from Omar and acts oddly impatient. He then piles his family into a van for a city tour, eventually ending up at Svetlana's house. Jessica, in a fit of jealousy, spends nearly 15 minutes mocking Svetlana's odd name. Svetlana's house turns out to be nothing more than a giant cat mansion. Without warning, Svetlana shows a newspaper photo of Jessica on the front page, stating that the police are looking for her. Jessica is shocked and upset because now she can't go back to work. No one will hire a bank robbery suspect. Don asks Svetlana to help him hack his father's system. Svetlana is surprised, asking if Liam isn't dead. Don explains everything that happened, including how his brother now took over his father's position. In the middle of the day, Don tells Jessica that his brother agreed to meet with her. Jessica asks, confused, what they plan to do. Don says his brother's had a hard life and now only cares about money, but maybe if Don tries, he can get him to give up this dangerous path and, like real brothers, live side by side. They went to the museum for the meeting to make sure it was safe for both of them. It was clear from Finn's face that he was carrying a deep wound from the past. He shared that when he was 12 years old, he stood outside the McCaffrey family's house all day in the freezing cold, waiting for the chance to get close and introduce himself. But then, he saw his father and Don walk out wearing matching jackets, and that's when he realized how stupid it had been to wish for a moment when they would accept him into their circle. The cold had numbed his legs, and he couldn't even take a step forward. Don said he understood his feelings, but the truth was, their father had been an incredibly strict man, and there was even a time when he had planned to get rid of Don for disobedience. The relationship between them had always been more like that of a master and servant, not father and son. Don asked Finn to let go of everything, because if he stayed in that house, he'd end up becoming a second version of their father. Finn scoffed and asked if Don really thought he'd give up all that money and powerful empire just to have a brother who wasn't even around when he was a kid. Was he going to sit around and play cards with him at night? Don realized talking was useless, so he threatened, "Either stop the operation or you'll meet the other side of Don, the McCaffrey son." When Finn got home, he hired 5 professional hitmen. He told them that whoever could stop Don and kill him would receive 3 times the usual pay for previous missions. That night, Jessica walked into the room and saw Don and Svetlana looking at a hidden closet full of guns and heavy weapons. She realized the meeting between Don and his brother hadn't gone well. She told him the kids were upset. None of them expected to spend their Christmas in Paris like this. Don decided to take his family out for a bit to change the mood. But when they returned, Svetlana brought drinks, and the gathering turned into a confession session. Don thanked her for all her help, but Svetlana gave him a bitter smile and said, "You know, Don, I'm a traitor. Honestly, I handed you over to your brother." "My cat food's expensive." Don was shocked. Svetlana continued, "You were lucky I liked you, or that drink would have been the end of you." Don quickly woke up his family to leave the house, even though he was staggering from the effects of the drug. Svetlana told them it was just the sedative and handed them the car keys. Kylie sat in the driver's seat. Finn's men were outside the house. Kylie struggled to start the old 1990s car, and with some luck, they managed to escape. The next day, when the effects of the drug wore off, Don told Jessica he had hoped his brother would change. But now he had to get the family to a safe place to avoid being arrested, because if the police caught them for the bank robbery, Jessica might spend the rest of her life in prison. Nina disagreed and said that as long as they were together, they were stronger, and they'd eventually figure out a solution. Omar suggested they ask his father for help again, but this time Nina disagreed and said this was a family matter, and they shouldn't drag him into it. Don took them to a cafe across from his old house. He said the best option was to get inside the house and take control of the entire security system. The kids were shocked to realize that the house, which they had no idea was theirs, was so huge. Don told them to focus because the house was full of cameras and guards. Kylie handed him a flash drive that would allow them to take control of everything if they got into the system. Omar said he could bring some friends over to protest outside the house and distract everyone. Everything was set. Don emphasized that if the operation inside the house went wrong, they would need to escape immediately, so Finn's men wouldn't take them hostage. For the first time, Don acknowledged Omar, asking him to enter through the roof with him. Omar was thrilled, seeing this as an acceptance into the family. Both of them jumped from roof to roof, adjusting the camera's angles. At the same time, Omar's friends arrived and began their fake protest. Finn, who was at the house, was completely confused about what was going on, wondering what his connection was to this system being shouted about in front of his house. Omar went down and suddenly saw the police arresting Nina, mistakenly thinking she was the leader of the protest. He immediately jumped on top of a car, shouting loud chants like, "Long live the revolution!" He finally broke the car window. The police arrested him and they let Nina go. Her mother was proud of Omar's courage. Meanwhile, Don entered his secret room and was shocked to see that his father had kept everything exactly as it was. He hadn't even had time to dwell in his memories when Finn and his men burst in. Don asked, "Is this jacket mine?" Finn replied, "It was yours, just like this house." As Finn was about to shoot him, Vikram, the old servant, intervened and said this was a place designed for such things where the sound of bullets wouldn't escape. Finn finally realized Don had been communicating with his family through headphones. Everything he'd built was taken apart and shattered. Jessica didn't know whether to follow Don's order to retreat or risk entering the house to help. Kylie said that since Don had thrown the flash drive into his room, it was probably a signal for her. Jessica decided to go help, and if she didn't come back, they'd head to the American embassy. She made her way to the roof of the next building, but the gap between the buildings was larger than she had expected. Remembering her fitness training, she made a leap and managed to get across. She entered the building, found the flash drive, and started searching for the system. At the same time, a woman entered the room. Jessica fought her off and finally knocked her out with a statue to the head. When Finn reached the system, he saw the bank account was completely emptied. Suddenly, Dan, who had managed to escape with Vikram's help, appeared before him. They fought and ended up chasing each other to the church roof. Don made one final attempt to talk him out of it so everything could end peacefully. But when Finn tried to kill him again, Don tied him up with a bell rope and threw him off the roof. The police arrived and arrested Don. His family was also put in handcuffs. In the police car, Kylie confessed that he had transferred the money to a charity. Nina was happy to hear he had made such a choice. At that moment, several cars pulled up. Omar and his father got out. Omar said, "My father is the Secretary General of Interpol." Don was stunned and said, "That was information you should have shared much earlier." Omar said he had offered to help several times, but Don never listened. Finally, Jessica gathered the courage to talk about her job offer. Contrary to what she expected, Don was happy and encouraged her to take it. 11 months later, in Ohio, Don video called Omar. Omar hadn't been able to come for the holidays. Don and Jessica went to greet Nina and Kylie, who had just returned from their trip. A month later, Don visited his brother in prison for the first time. He brought him a jacket like his own and pulled out a deck of cards. They sat together in silence, started playing, and the film ended there.